Man is least himself when he talks in his own person. But if you give him a mask, he will tell you the truth. Said by a great whistleblower. Before diving into this video, let me tell you something. 3 years on from the revelations that the US National Security Agency, aka NSA, collects personal data on every American and many more people worldwide. They have your phone records, they can hack your devices, they can track you wherever you are, they can tap internet lines worldwide, and at worst case scenario, they can even know exactly what you own and buy. Some individuals took it as a serious issue and they decided to expose to the public. In return, the government named them as traitors, but we call them as whistleblowers. So let me start this by explaining whistleblower. In general, a whistleblower is a person who exposes any kind of information or activity that is deemed illegal, unethical, or not correct within an organization that is either private or public. So this kind of person is called as a whistleblower. Whenever I hear the term whistleblower, these are the individuals that top my mind. Number 1. Julian Assange. He is the man behind WikiLeaks, an international non-profit organization that publishes secret information, news leaks, and classified media provided by anonymous sources. For the record, during the 2016 US presidential primaries, WikiLeaks released nearly 20,000 leaked emails from Democratic National Committee staffers. Its mission is to shine light on war crimes and abuses. Julian Paul Assange was born on July 3, 1971, in Queensland, Australia. As a result of his nomadic family life, he attended many schools. As a teenager, at the age of 16, he started hacking under the name Mendex. He was a co-writer of well-known book named Underground. He began programming and developing free software in 1994. For instance, he wrote the first free open-source port scanner, Strobe, and co-created a deniable encryption archive called Rubberhose. Though some have accused Assange of being a criminal and even a terrorist, others have lauded his whistleblowing efforts and deemed him a champion of the free speech. Despite detractors, Julian Assange has received several awards. In 2009, he was awarded the Amnesty International UK Media Award about the extrajudicial murders in Kenya. Even after the United States diplomatic cables leak, he was recognized with accolades such as 2011 Martha Gellhorn Prize for Journalism. There are many books, documentaries, and movies have been made on his journey. While his methods and philosophies are widely disputed, there is no denying that Julian Assange has already impacted world politics and will surely further affect what is to come. Number 2. Edward Snowden. Edward Joseph Snowden is famous for sharing classified government data via WikiLeaks. He is thought to have stolen millions of digital documents and is still releasing them periodically. Edward Joseph Snowden was born on June 21, 1983 in North Carolina, United States. Snowden dropped out of high school and studied computers at Anne Arundel Community College in Arnold, Maryland. Between his stints at community college, Snowden spent 4 months from May to September 2004 in Special Forces training in the Army Reserves, but he did not complete his training. By 2006, Snowden had taken an information technology job at the Central Intelligence Agency. At very young age, he was hired by the NSA because of his trustworthy of his family background, as his father served in his US government and his IQ was undoubtedly so talented. He scored above 145 on 2 separate IQ tests. During his years on his IT work, Snowden had noticed the far reach of the NSA's everyday surveillance. While working for Bush, Alan Snowden began copying top secret NSA documents. The documents contain vast information on NSA's domestic surveillance practices. Though some have accused Snowden of being a traitor, others have lauded his whistleblowing efforts and deemed him a champion of free speech. Despite detractors, Edward Snowden was named as the top global thinker by Foreign Policy magazine in the year 2013. He was voted as Person of the Year 2013 by The Guardian. He was awarded the biennial German Whistleblower Prize along with an accompanying award equal to €3,000 in August 2013. He was ranked one among the 100 most influential people in the world in April 2014. So these are my favorite whistleblowers of all time. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and post down your views in the comment section down below. Until then, as always, stay phenomenal, stay tuned.
My name is Ed Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton as an infrastructure analyst for NSA in Hawaii.
What are some of the positions that you held previously within the intelligence community?
I've been a systems engineer, systems administrator, senior advisor for the Central Intelligence Agency, solutions consultant, and a telecommunications information systems officer.
One of the things people are going to be most interested in trying to understand who you are and what you're thinking is there came some point in time when you crossed this line of thinking about being a whistleblower to making the choice to actually become a whistleblower. Walk people through that decision-making process.
When you're in positions of privileged access, like a systems administrator for these sort of intelligence community agencies, you're exposed to a lot more information on a broader scale than the average employee. And because of that, you see things that may be disturbing, but over the course of a normal person's career, you'd only see one or two of these instances. When you see everything, you see them on a more frequent basis. And you recognize that some of these things are actually abuses. And when you talk to people about them, in a place like this where this is the normal state of business, people tend not to take them very seriously and move on from them. But over time, that awareness of wrongdoing sort of builds up, and you feel compelled to talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you're ignored, the more you're told it's not a problem, until eventually you realize that these things need to be determined by the public, not by somebody who is simply hired by the government.
Talk a little bit about how the American surveillance state actually functions. Does it target the actions of Americans?
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. So while they may be intending to target someone associated with a foreign government or someone that they suspect of terrorism, they're collecting your communications to do so. Any analyst at any time can target anyone, any selector anywhere. Where those communications will be picked up depends on the range of the sensor networks and the authorities that that analyst is empowered with. Not all analysts have the ability to target everything, but I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
One of the extraordinary parts about this episode is that usually whistleblowers do what they do anonymously and take steps to remain anonymous for as long as they can, which they hope often is forever. You, on the other hand, have decided to do the opposite, which is to declare yourself openly as the person behind these disclosures. Why did you choose to do that?
I think that the public is owed an explanation of the motivations behind the people who make these disclosures that are outside of the democratic model. when you are subverting the power of government, that's a fundamentally dangerous thing to democracy.